Hey, what's up everyone? This is Snackbox. Hope you all are having an amazing day, guys. In today's video, I want to talk about the Summon Rush event that just went live. This is the extra Summon Rush event for the 50 fragments. And I have to say, I expected a little bit more, better rewards in here. Maybe, mythical relic mats, but it seems like it's just a regular Summon Rush, apparently. And yeah, the amount of points we need to get here are also not that great. So 6,250 points, that's like 12 and a half sacred shards. So yeah, not that great. Not really worse or better compared to the other summoning events that we had over the weekends. The only difference really is that we kind of have better progressive chance events here for this Summon Rush. And we're going to go over those champions in a second. So for today, we have some nice champions in here. We have the Cheshire Cat, which is a really fun champion for PvE and PvP. Has an ridiculously hard-hitting A1. And yeah, just fun overall for arena and, dungeon stuff or wherever you want to use the cat. Then we have some interesting champions here with Thor and Crocat. Both of them are solid for like Hydra comps or just PvE content in general, even though Crocat only works with Shayak in combination, so that's kind of like the downside. That's why I would, prefer Thor instead of Crocat if you don't have Shayak. And then we have Cross Wallbreaker, which is an okayish bomb champion, but not insanely good, and also not sure about this one. I never actually saw this champion or used this champion, but maybe Infection Wars hard on the waves, but that's about it. So yeah, in general, I would say the Cheshire Cat here is definitely the best one. Then I would say Thor, and then Crocat, but only if you have Shayak. That's how I would rate them, and then the other two guys pretty much with the same value. Then we have for Void Legendaries, one of the most annoying Void Dwarfs in the arena, which is Arnorn. And he has this passive where he survives a fatal hit, puts up Stone Skin, and then hits your whole team with that AoE skill, and he can really smack. He really hits hard. No weak hits because he's a Void Affinity Legendary, and yeah, absolutely amazing. Annoying to face, hard to deal with. Definitely one of the best dwarves for arena. And also Siege posts. I definitely saw some teams with him there as well. So yeah, very, very strong champion, but only for PvP. Then we have Chalco. He's probably one of the best looking champions in the entire game. He's very funny looking. I mean, look at this head. Whoever came up with that, design definitely deserves a raise. I would say 10 out of 10. He looks so funny. But he's not only looking funny, he's also actually pretty solid. He can definitely smack. Has an interesting kit, interesting passive where he's immune to crowd control debuffs. And whenever you try to control him, he will use this skill right here and kind of, counterattack. But it's not really a counterattack, it's an, skill activation. So yeah, interesting champion. I think he can also be very solid for Hydra because he's immune to that fear and true fear from the Head of Torment, and he will always counterattack, so he can definitely work there as well. I saw some teams with him, and he does solid damage. So he's actually pretty good. And then we have Akritzia. She's one of the enemy max HP champions. Nothing special about her. I think all of her skills are based on enemy max HP, and that's about it. But for tomorrow, we have some other interesting champions, and I would say that is where it's at. So on Wednesday, January the 21st, we have another progressive chance event. First in line is Prince Kaimar, very, very solid, cooldown reduction champion. But I want to highlight other champions, and one of them is this guy. So this guy that is looking like he's straight out of Naruto, he has a very interesting kit for Chimera because he's a decreased resistance champion, okay? So he has decreased resistance, decreased speed, leech, block debuffs, heal, and then he mirrors debuffs into buffs. On top of that, he has that pain link, but the pain link, like the normal pain link on champions, is not really doing much, so it's kind of useless. It just adds a little bit of reflect damage for that reflect trial, but it's not really working as well as the one on Gizmek, because the one on Gizmek has an insane multiplier built in. So it works completely different right here. When calculating the damage inflicted by the pain link debuff, 75% of the attacker's skill multiplier is reflected. The damage inflicted by the pain link debuff will ignore 100% of the target's defense. So it's a completely different pain link and so overpowered that, you know, this normal pain link doesn't do anything and it's kind of useless. So I would love to see some changes around pain link. But yeah, regardless, I think people focused too much on the pain link. Regardless of the pain link, I think he's very solid because he's a decreased resistance champion and has other debuffs and buffs that are needed for trials. And we don't have a lot of decreased resistance champions in the game that are viable for trials. So we have Galatir, which is hard to obtain. It's a mythical champion. He's probably one of the best options. And then we have Balar, which is also not easy to build. So he can, you know, hit hard enough, but you can also use him as a, you know, debuffer or support champion. And he has the decreased resistance here on the A3. So the next best after Galatir is maybe Klazag. And he's an absolute beast, but a Void Legendary. So again, hard to achieve. And yeah, I think he, you know, this guy right here has a very unique set of debuffs and buffs and can definitely enable other comps, new comps, and that's why I'm probably gonna pull for him. Then next in line is Prava the Slitherer, which is another interesting reviver for Chimera. She has this A1 where she transfers all debuffs from this champion to the target. This effect cannot be resisted if this champion is under 3 or more debuffs. And then she has this passive. When she takes a turn, she transfers 1 debuff from each ally to this champion. So in theory, when you enter the Viper form, you transfer 1 debuff from each ally. They will all have poisons and poison sensitivity, and you transfer 1 debuff of each of, you know, your allies onto her. So in theory, you could have like 3 to 7 poisons on your Prava plus the poison sensitivity, and then transfer all these debuffs onto the Viper form with the A1, and then activate them. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I planned on building her for such a long time, but she moved down on my priority list because there are so many champions that I want and need to build, and I don't have a lot of legendary books. That's kind of like the thing that's holding me back. But in general, I think that's how this would work and where she absolutely shines. So for those poison trials, this A1 seems pretty OP. Then she has increased defense, increased speed. Both of these buffs are needed for trials. And a revive that fully resets the cooldowns of all the skills. And yeah, pretty amazing champion for Chimera. Definitely has a nice kit with the passive and the A1, and then also an all battle speed aura. And then this champion is pretty surprising to me that he's part of this progressive event, but you know, he's probably the one where people say I'm gonna pull shards for this guy. So Fabian is also part of this progressive event. He was the anniversary champion last year, and yeah, he's been very strong in the arena since then. I use him also on my Faction Wars Heart team, and just in general, he's an amazing champion, right? With the lockout, and now lockout becomes even more important with the mercurial gear. This is like the only thing that it doesn't block, right? So yeah, lockout definitely becomes more important, and I think his value jumped up. You know, it went even higher than it already was. And yeah, if you don't have a Fabian, I would definitely recommend you to get one because, you know, he's kind of like a must-have for classic live and tag team arena. And also in Siege because he has that all-battle speed aura. So if I wouldn't go for champions that would, you know, help me in Chimera, I would probably go for the Fabian Empowerment. Then we have Duchess, very old school reviver, still pretty good. See a lot of people use her in live arena still with this passive that reduces the damage from AoE attacks by 25%. And yeah, this is very strong against Marius, for example. And yeah, solid reviver still to this day. Now let's move on to the Void legendaries. So we're gonna have Feidi tomorrow, right? And she's a cooldown decreasing champion as well. The only downside with this champion is that this skill cannot be reset. So you can't like cycle skills with Lamasu, for example, which is kind of annoying. But on top of that, this champion is also providing a very unique buff, which is increased resistance and then also perfect veil. And on an A2, there's decreased speed and block buffs and a little Termita fill. So overall, this kit is also very nice for Chimera. You have decreased speed, block buffs, increased resistance, perfect veil, and then also a cooldown reset, as well as a little heal on the A1 and Termita fills. Okay, so yeah, very nice champion. I don't have Feidi, so I never had a chance to build a team with Feidi or try a comp, but I think, unique combinations of buffs like this and debuffs is definitely good to have. And the more champions you have with, unique sets of debuffs and buffs, the more options you have to come up with a team in Chimera to find a team, that gets all the mats and the basalts. But besides Chimera, also amazing for Hydra. I mean, look at the reviews. Everybody loves this champion, and I can totally understand why. Then we have Siphi. Siphi kind of fell off a little bit. See some people still using her in the arena. A solid speed booster, but there are so many ways to counter Termita fill. She places free buffs. If you have Vulcanos or Nail, or if you face a Fabian or somebody with Supersonic, they will just instantly cut in if they have like decent speed. So yeah, I mean, it's not like she's completely useless, but there are so many ways to counter this champion in arena now. For me personally, I only use her in Sand Devil, where she has that unresistible sleep, and then as a reviver in Faction Wars Heart, and that's about it. I hate to say it because I really think this is a great champion, but there are so many things that counter her now in arena, and that's just how it is. And then we have probably one of the best speed boosters in the entire game, and this will probably be the main reason for whales and krakens to open up white shards tomorrow to get that Shuzen empowerment or even get the first copy. So yeah, she has that incredible A2 where she gives an instant turn, buffs increase attack, increase crit rate, increase crit damage, and there is no way to cut in. If you go first with Shuzen, you go first. Your Nuka goes first. You can also remove a sheep debuff, which can be pretty handy. And then on top of that, she's also boosting Termita by 20%, increased speed, and then decreasing Termita of all enemies and placing decreased speed. So a very strong Termita boost and Termita decrease. And sometimes you have to do this against Marius and he will counterattack, but it is what it is. And this is also a very underrated A1. Block active skills on the A1. So this has a 50% chance of placing a block active skills. But if the target is under block active skills, you also have a 100% chance to steal 20% of the target's turn meter. And this is a very, very strong A1. This can definitely win you fights, especially against champions like Nice, Galateer, and so on. And you can easily stack up enough accuracy because of this passive. Increases this champion's accuracy equal to the amount of speed they have. So the faster this champion is, the more accuracy you get. So that's kind of like what makes her so strong. You don't have to build that much accuracy. You can just focus on speed. So if you're at like 400, 500 speed, you get 400, 500 accuracy. That's how it is, right? So you theoretically need like 200 more accuracy and you're fine. So you will easily get enough accuracy. Also, with the speed aura, 30% speed aura, she will have much more speed in game, and then her accuracy will just be through the roof. So yeah, absolutely amazing champion, speed booster. I also used her in the Wukong team to speed farm the event dungeon. And yeah, the best speed booster in my opinion. And the reason why I say she is the best, like I said, is because of that instant turn. You can't cut in, you know, doesn't matter if you have stars, supersonic or whatever, you can't cut in. You know, the instant turn will take place no matter what you do if you go first with Shuzen. Once you are able to use this skill, whoever you target, that champion will get a turn. And then on top of that, what legendary champions have as an advantage is the faction guardians, right? There's no faction guardian bonus for mythicals. Okay, so if you have a 6-star soul for legendary champions, you get extra 15 speed, and then you get extra 10 speed for your faction guardians, right? So if you have your faction guardians maxed out, that's extra 10 plus the soul, 25 extra speed. Now, if you have a 6-star mythical soul, you will get 20 speed, right? So that's kind of like the thing that legendary champions have as an advantage. It's a little bit more speed that they get if you have a 6-star soul and faction guardians. Mythical champions only get 20 speed from a 6-star soul, right? Another reason why I think Shuzen is the best. So yeah, guys, my plan is to pull tomorrow. Like I said, I'm definitely gonna, get those 50 fragments here. I have to if I want to complete the fusion. I'm pretty much at 50 fragments right now. So those 50 from the Summer Rush are the last ones that I have to pick up. I already got the other 3 epics ready to go. So with those 50 fragments from the Summer Rush, I'm pretty much done. Just have to, rank the last epic up, ascend it, and then we will fuse Cassandra. So yeah, that is the plan. Let me know in the comments below if you're pulling shards and which champion you're going for. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button. It really goes a long way. Also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more raid content. The YouTube algorithm's going to suggest you a video that you might like right here, and see you in the next one.